All right, this is probably going to get me in trouble, but here we go anyway. Right, it's Friday afternoon, and yet I feel like compelled to share this, and here's why: because I work with so many agents, so many brokerage owners that don't understand what's going on. They don't understand this new world that we're living in, and they don't understand the impact it's having. They don't understand why agents are leaving. They don't understand agents don't understand why people would go to a virtual brokerage instead of a brick. Like all these things are going on. So here's what I want to unpack for you real quick. I don't care what brokerage you're with, what agency you're with, whatever it is. This is worth understanding. Yeah, I'm at EXP. I love EXP. It's awesome. This is not necessarily an EXP pitch. This is helping you understand what's going on in the world. So hopefully you will jump in with me, join in, and let me walk you through what's going on. And I want to pull back the curtains for a second, help you understand the difference between the old school and the new school and why it's important to you. So let's dive into this. So here we go. Let me share this with you. I'm looking at the. Oh, let's see if I can make it even bigger. Oh, there we go. Oh, now we go real big. All right. So looking at this Web 2.0. So like how things were for a long time, right? Most of us grew up with old school right, MySpace, all this other kind of stuff, Facebook, etc. In Web 2.0, it was about buying your attention and selling your data, right? Right. We got all these things for free, Facebook, all this other stuff for free. And then they turned around and they sold their data. That's changing, right? You're seeing a lot with the permissions on our phones and everything else. Um, New school is giving you more control and long-term future rewards from the work you do. And I can unpack that in a second. Old school is your attention was the currency. New school is you can actually create and have ownership, right? So now, back in the day, if you created a meme and that meme got shared all over the internet, you didn't get anything for that. Nowadays, right? If you create an NFT, right? When that NFT is shared, is exchanged, is sold, you have ownership and you can actually get residual income on that, right? You can actually create a new currency in a sense. Old school was a few were profiting. Nowadays, right, many are profiting. So old school is, let's say you wrote a book. You would get very little of those profits, and the publishing house would get a lot. Right, old school was, you were a real estate agent, and you would get some of your commission, but really the ones that own the brokerage or the regional managers, whatever it's called, would get a lot of the profit. Now you're able to write a book and get direct profit. You can set the profit margins, right? Now, right through the new revenue sharing models, right? When you sell a house or when you bring people into a brokerage, right? There's multiple ways of profit where they're sharing the profit. Back in the day, Web 2.0 access was hard. It took a lot to get in. Nowadays, it's minimal cost getting in, starting a brokerage, or starting a real estate team, writing a book. It's so much easier now than it was 5, 10, 20 years ago. Back in the day, right, the brokerage or the office building or the mega store had to provide everything. Now we're working with people in niches, which is such a beautiful place to be. Back in the day, it was all about being broad, right? Nowadays, it's all about creating niches. Back in the day, it was all done in one place. You needed to go to an office that had a fax machine, a printer, all this other kind of stuff. Now it's all being done mobile, right? You literally, I love this. Last week, Justin, Justin Nelson, who runs this huge company, right, he's got thousands of employees. He shows up for a 4-day event, and all he brings is his phone. Me and Jeff are like, how do you run a company from a phone? How do you not even bring your laptop? Yo, that's the new world we're living in. That's new, right? Right. These kids are running huge organizations from a phone. They don't even have a laptop anymore. The world has changed. So all these people go, man, I need office space. To this. The world has changed. And let me share with you some of the differences. So I'll probably do another video. Let me know if you want me to. I'll probably do another video really ripping back the curtain and sharing why it's so hard for brokerages to be profitable right now, especially small brokerages. But that's a whole nother thing. But let me share this with you. See if I can figure out how to scroll on this and if it shows up on your screen. Here's why I get jazzed about this. Okay, why I get jazzed about this is because there's old school, and then there's companies like EXP, Real, who I don't believe in their necessarily their all things in their model, and yet EXP especially has we had the old school brokers, right? It was back in the day, it was tough to start a brokerage. If you wanted to start a brokerage, that was brutal, right? Now, through EXP, well, I mean, even if you just want to start your own brokerage, it's super easy. But for me, I looked at me and Hank years ago looked at all these different options. And I go, and he goes, why would you ever start a brokerage when you can build a brokerage within a brokerage? which is exactly what I started doing. I have the ability because our company is a national company, right? We're all over the world now, but national company. I'm able to build a brokerage, agents I care about, agents I love, agents I pour into. I'm able to build a brokerage with inside of a brokerage, which means I get to give some coaching and advice that I choose to give, but I don't have to do all the other stuff. I have no financial money on the line, and I get all the reward. That's amazing, right? Right now, my brokerage has 150 people in it, and I'm able to have a brokerage within a brokerage. And by the way, I net way more than most brokerages. Trust me, I've seen behind the scenes in tons. Here's the next thing. Right, you had to provide everything. Right, so back in the day, you had to provide everything. You had to provide right, all this stuff, and it was tough, and that's why it was worth it to maybe work at an office or do something like that, because you had all the stuff that would need to be provided. Right now, I can provide the coaching and what I choose, and not have to worry about all the rest. Right, this is a big deal. Right, back in the day, it was built for a broad base of users. Now, I can choose what I want to do and what I want to leave. Right, so back in the day, if you were in a traditional office, you need to go to every training class, or you were encouraged to go to every training class. Now, right, especially with the online training that we have set up with EXP, I can choose to go take which classes I choose, which ones apply to me, and I don't need to worry about all the rest. It's a big difference, right? Work back in the day was done from the office, right? Most of it, you had to go into the office, right? Printer, all the other meet clients, everything else. Now, we're built on doing everything from this. If you can't run your entire business from your cell phone, and I'm still working on this, but if you can't run your entire business from your cell phone, you are in trouble. Right. Right. Because that's the way the world is moving. Back in the day, profits were for a few. If you've been part of other things that had happened back in the day, you recognize that profits were for the few. Now you realize we are in the greatest redistribution of wealth that we have ever experienced. This is the biggest redistribution of wealth that we may see in our lifetime. It's a big deal. Here's what think about it this way. Once you buy your first Airbnb, one of the things you realize is how much money hotels actually make, right? One of my clients, his Airbnb is in the first 3 months paid for the entire rest of the year, and his entire year is booked. Right, right. Used to be all the money went to one person, or went to the owners, the small ownership group, whatever it is. Now you're able to be the owner, whether it's Airbnbs, whether it's owning your book, whether it's owning your NFTs, whether it's being at EXP and actually getting legit ownership in the company. You get to be the owner. You get the game has changed. That's what I want you to understand. The game is fundamentally changed, and this is the greatest redistribution of wealth that we may ever experience. Right. Back in the day, what I realized was, and especially my former brokerage, it was very tough for me to tap into other opportunities, to bigger opportunities. Right. All the ownership was sold. All the stuff was done. Right. At my brokerage within a brokerage, I can grow this thing as big as I choose. And I don't have to ask anybody's permission. Right. Back in the day, I don't know if you can see it there. Back in the day, we were paid once in one way. You did a real estate transaction, the end. You got your check, the end. You needed to go do another one. Now, right, with where I'm at with EXP, here's what's amazing. And this, what I love is that I'm able to give this opportunity to so many agents, especially new agents who will have no idea, right, how amazing they have it compared to what we did back in the day. Right now, right, when someone joins EXP, they literally are paid when they have a commission. They're paid when right, somebody joins with them, and they get profit share. They're paid through profit share. They're paid through stock awards. Right. They if they cap, they get their money back through the agent icon award. Right. It's amazing that I'm at a company that immediately, if you're a capping agent, is paying you to be there. That's incredible, right? You're paid over and over in multiple different ways without doing anything different than you did before. Do you get the game's changed? Like if you, gosh, I wish I could just make this even clearer. The game has changed, and like I said in the beginning, it was like we were on this great boat, and then a yacht pulled up next to it, and the yacht is EXP because the model is in alignment with the new world we live in. I look at some of the other brokerages around, and I would love for them to get their model more in alignment with the new world. And if they did that, that'd be awesome. I'd give them the biggest high five ever. A lot of them aren't doing it because it's painful. And when you look at this, you begin to realize that this isn't necessarily something crazy or new. We've always been doing a transitions like this. So one of the things that I share, and we talked about this yesterday on one of our calls, but we talked about, and I think this was really helpful. I don't know if you can see it because it's ginormous size. But back in the day we had Caldwell Banker. Caldwell Banker was awesome. Right, like 70-30 split, no cap, no sharing, no stocks. Right, KW came along, and KW was incredible. Right, KW said 70-30 split. The cap was different everywhere. And then there's some profit sharing opportunity, but no stocks. What you realize is profit sharing was it was good for some people, especially people that got in very early. For most of us, profit sharing didn't really show up very much because it was based on, is there any profit left at the end of the month? And smart owners did a great job distributing income and expenses throughout the year to not show massive amounts of profit, like most good business owners do. So then this is the natural progression. The natural progression is, right, the new model. We have EXP come along, and EXP has an 80-20 split, $16,000 cap. And then here's where it changes. Now, you don't get profit share, you get revenue share. Revenue share isn't paid at the end if there's anything left over. Revenue share is paid off at the beginning. It's a consistent number you can do math on. We also get revenue, right? We get stock incentives for bringing people in, stock incentives for doing transactions, stock incentives for capping. Also, if you're a capping agent, for an icon agent, you get that $16,000 back, right, in stock awards. It's literally, we say it's the greatest redistribution of wealth in the real estate industry. It really, really is. There's a lot of, and I love them. There's a lot of, old men behind desks that were making tons of money, that were out of alignment, and now they're out looking for jobs. So when I look at this, let me throw the slide up here. I looked at the question I ask you is, how are you doing in commissions? Are you getting 100% of it back? Are you set up to get residual income for doing what you're already doing? And are you getting stock awards, etc., for helping grow the company? The world, the game has changed. One of the things that hit me so big was this. This blew my mind, right? So this man, Gene Frederick, my wife actually used to work with him in Austin, Texas. And I remember this a couple years ago, someone said, you know what's going on with Gene? I said, no. They go, he sold everything he owned in our former brokerage, and he moved this new brokerage EXP. Here's what got me. I knew Gene was a brilliant dude. And when I saw him do that and several other people make moves, I thought there has got to be something to this. I've always been taught to bet on people. And I looked around and I go, these people that are making this move are people that I would bet on all day long. I owe it to myself to investigate this and take a look at it. I loved my former brokerage, but I looked and I go, this solves so many problems that we used to have. The agents are actually making way more money by doing what they're already doing. By the way, there's a path to retiring. By the way, there's a path to, if I bring an agent in, and whether they stay with my team or whether they leave my team, we both continue to win. I go, there's ways for me to benefit my agents more than I ever could have on my own. Oh, and by the way, we're having fun again. I owed it to myself to stop and take a look at this model. And I remember the day Hank called me, and he said, "I'm going to show you this model. And if you don't say yes, I'm going to question our friendship, because if you don't see how awesome this is, I don't know if we can still be friends." I'm sure he said it in a much more loving way, but basically he was saying, like, this solves so many problems we've all had. And one of the stories that stands out a lot to me was, this is a couple of years ago. I had one of my buddies call me and he goes, and he was upset. He goes, my mom's sick and I have to sell some of my EXP stock. He goes, I got to sell about $60,000-$70,000 of my EXP stock. And he goes, it sucks, I got to do that. Yet the moment was, brother, do you realize, had you not made this move, you would have zero stock to even be able to sell. Had you stayed where you were, you would have no stock, right, to be able to sell. So yeah, he had to sell some of his stock. He had stock to sell. By the way, his $70,000 of stock was in his account, not doing anything differently than he would have done at his former brokerage, just being rewarded in the new school way of being able to redistribute and celebrate. So, my friends, I challenge you to take a look at this. If you don't have to hate where you are to take a look at this, you don't have to be in my town, in my state. I am committed to continue to build my brokerage within a brokerage and help you build your brokerage within a brokerage so that we can all experience the levels of wealth and the impact that we saw around us. Now we just get to take part. It's pretty cool. All right. If you have questions, I'd love to have a conversation with you. Go to either send me a message or go to Pick Wayne's Brain. I know it's awesome. Chauncey gave that to me. PickWayne'sBrain.com. And we'll have a conversation, my friends. All right. Talk to you soon. Go get it.